Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from Breitbart. Now, I know this was published on February 7th, and I'm just getting to it now, but there's a reason for this. I mean, this needs to get attention, especially with how some people out here shilled the ever-loving shit out of NewsGuard. And when I say shilled the ever-loving shit out of it, I mean it. Anyway, the title: NewsGuard defends New York Times stealth edit of blackface story. Not all changes necessarily corrections. Yeah, so you got NewsGuard doing really shady shit to cover for the New York Times. And, you know, the people who shilled the shit out of it are nowhere to be found on commenting on this. They're not reporting on this. A good example of this is Tim Pool. Now, I've tried asking him what the deal is with that on Minds. I've done it in comments. I'm trying to get him to say something about this, because he told his subscribers and followers that NewsGuard was a legit news verifier, that they were legit. Now this shit comes out with along with a bunch of other stuff regarding NewsGuard, and him and other people are nowhere to be found. So Tim, buddy, old pal, what's the deal, man? Did you get paid a bunch of money and sign a contract where you can't say a thing about them? Is that what happened? You sold yourself out, and now you have to compromise your integrity because you're the one who I see consistently and constantly talking about how there needs to be accountability in the media. Well, you're part of the media, bitch. Where's your accountability? I mean, hell, you think that you can just hide this shit like your receding hairline with that fucking winter hat, man. 100 degrees out, you're wearing a winter hat. You don't think people realize that you're doing it to hide your fucking balding head, dude? I mean, come on now. This is the same type of situation, too. It's like you think you can pull that hat over and no one will have noticed that you shilled the shit out of NewsGuard. Well, I did. I mean, this is ridiculous. So have other creators out here. I mean, this is like BetterHelp. This is like that one, oh God, what was it? Where the creators took money and it was shady as all fucking hell. Oh God. And they tried to cover for it. It was like skeptics and shit. Oh, if anyone can remember what that one was, it was I don't know, it might be 2 years ago at this point. It'd be appreciated if you could put it in the comments. Anyways, let's get into the article here. NewsGuard, the establishment-backed fact-checker that, according to one report, is approximately twice as likely to rate a conservative news site as untrustworthy compared to a non-conservative news site, urged caution to critics of the New York Times' recent decision to alter a headline about Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring admitting to wearing blackface without notifying readers. So, yeah, they allowed the New York Times to change a headline because they were being shady. They got caught. And they went, oh, well, this doesn't look good for us. Let's see if no one notices us changing the title. Now, NewsGuard, who's supposed to be a fact checker, a verifier of news, they let it, nothing to see here. Yeah, perfectly good. You would think the people who shilled this shit out here would, grow a pair. Oh, wait, they probably have legal obligations because they're willing to sign their integrity away for a paycheck. But yeah, you'd think that someone would be talking about this that shilled this. Just saying. NewsGuard is an internet browser extension that displays green trustworthy or red untrustworthy labels next to the links to news sites as its users browse the web. Because it offers a blanket rating to news websites rather than a story-by-story rating, this results in green trustworthy ticks sitting next to fake news stories from green-rated publications, which risks presenting users with the perception that false or inaccurate stories from the green-rated publications, which include BuzzFeed, Rolling Stone, CNN, and the New York Times, can be trusted. Which is exactly the point. That's the intent of it. That's what they want. They figure if you see the green check mark, they could tell you shit, you know, is, you know, pate fragoire, and you'd be probably stupid enough to believe it in their eyes. That's what they're thinking. That's the intent of it. Oh my God, that's why they're doing it. The same is true of the recent New York Times story where editors changed the phrasing of a headline about Herring admitting wearing blackface from dark makeup to blackface following criticism of the original headline on social media. The New York Times did not update its article to notify readers of the change or explanation why the initial headline was deemed to be inaccurate. Oh yeah, they're just like, oop, changed. Let's see if no one notices. I mean, that's kind of like what they did. I love the Breitbart tweet here. Can this get any more amazing? Virginia Attorney General says he also dressed in dark makeup. Oh, God. I love that. That's freaking hilarious. The NewsGuard rating seal of approval. This is not the first time that the Times has changed its articles or its headlines without explaining its decision to readers or apologizing for the initial error. Well, yeah, the legacy media tries to do that as much as possible. They would rather change stuff and not have to own up to it than own up to it and change it. In a story about the murder of Molly Tibbetts last year, the paper stealth edited a headline to remove the word undocumented from a description of Tibbetts' killer. Well, yeah, of course they did, because they're on the left, and the left, they're spurgs. They don't like the idea of, you know, stating a fact like undocumented with that, because they're trying to portray all undocumented as just innocent people seeking a better life. In another case from last year, the Times stealth-edited an article about one of Brett Kavanaugh's accusers to remove a line in which the accuser said she could not be certain that Kavanaugh was responsible for the alleged indecent behavior. Well, of course not, because they're trying to, you know, they wanted Kavanaugh not to get the nomination, and if they put that there, it makes him look a lot better and innocent because. And more innocent because of the fact that she couldn't be certain than if you just leave that little tidbit out. In another infamous case, the Times made substantial edits to an article about Bernie Sanders that downplayed his legislative achievements, a decision that was ultimately critiqued by the paper's own public editor, as well as the Poynter Institute. His legislative achievements. What the fuck has Bernie achieved legislatively? He's a fucking commie socialist shitbag nitwit who's luckily never managed to get any of the things that he wants enacted into this country. In a comment to Breitbart News, the editorial director for NewsGuard said that they are reviewing this now with the hope of quantifying the issue. Yeah, quantifying my ass. The whole point of NewsGuard is, what's the best way to put this? Okay. When you have Snopes and the Washington Post and PolitiFact and others that are known quote-unquote fact checkers, and people are looking at them going, oh my God, they're full of shit. You know, oh my God, they're getting that wrong or this wrong. They're losing credibility. So the establishment, the neocons and neolibs, created NewsGuard, figuring we could slip this in here, make it seem legit and sway people's opinions. It's just a replacement for them. They were hoping it would be a drop-in and people would just accept what NewsGuard is saying at face value about sources, about articles. But it just didn't exactly work that way. However, he also urged caution in judging the New York Times too harshly. Not all editing changes of headlines at the Times or anywhere else are necessarily corrections. No, they could be shady, shifty, sleazy attempts to cover one's ass. Oh, God. As an editor, I've often changed headlines as I thought more about the story and decided there was a clearer way to headline it. Usually you work out the headlines before you publish the story. Usually when you're changing a headline after it's published, it's because you're trying to change the perception. You're trying to change the narrative. You know, those types of things. Also, as a story develops, as is the case in at least one example, you cite the headline. Also, as a story develops, as the case in at least one example you cite, the headline could change because the story gets expanded. Oh, that's just making an excuse. Oh my God. But they should still, I mean, if you're going to, regardless of the excuse, the rhyme, the reason, if you're going to change the headline of a story, you should at least note it and explain why. I mean, if you're going to be credible journalists, to me, that makes sense. I mean, how else are you going to hold on to your credibility? Because if you just change it, you don't say a damn thing about it. What ends up happening is people look at what you're doing, and it has them questioning your motives. It has them questioning your honesty and integrity. You know, basically looking at you and going, oh, should I trust this fuck? I mean, it would be common sense to document that type of stuff, at least to me. But anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.